Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IS Academy. I am Surbhi Sardana and I will be taking this daily answer writing initiative from Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. Today it's day 8 of Seize the Mains initiative and our topic for the day is from GS4, which is emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities and their applications in administration and governance. So with the passage of time, we have learned that EQ is as much important as is IQ. So your IQ does get tested during all the GS papers while taking all the other exams. But for testing your EQ and for how much knowledge that you have of the subject, this subtopic has been included in your ethics paper, that is GS paper 4. Emotional intelligence is a very interesting concept. There are many thinkers which have given their philosophies around it and many psychologists who have come up with different ideas of intelligences, and one of them is emotional intelligence. But according to us, if you go through the previous year papers and see how UPSC has been tweaking the questions it has been asking from this area, we would recommend that you prepare this topic on your own. You must add your own examples, write down your life experiences and how emotional intelligence, how learning of emotional intelligence helped you in your personal life and how it can help any XYZ person. So, this is how you need to proceed with this topic. Let's see what is our question for today. To start with, we have taken a question that is for 150 words. It has to be answered for 10 marks because we have been receiving a lot of messages that people are facing a problem of word limit when it comes to answering 150 words questions. So from today and for the next few days, we will be taking only 150 words questions and we will be teaching you how to address them in the well stipulated time and the well stipulated word limit, that is 150. So the question for the day is, what is emotional intelligence and what are its components? What are the applications of emotional intelligence in administration? So as you can see that the question asked you to write only 150 words, but there are 3 parts to this question. What is emotional intelligence? What are its components? And what are the applications of EI in administration? So this has three parts to it and it becomes very tough to write only 150 words for these types of questions. So today we'll see how to address these questions. Talking about this particular question, this is a very simple question because it does not have any tough directives. All the questions are to be addressed directly. What has been used thrice in this question? So you just have to talk about what has been asked. There is nothing tweaking, there is no beating around the bush that the examiner has done here. It's a very direct question. So let's see how we'll start writing this question by building a simple introduction for it. Addressing the first part of this question, what is emotional intelligence and what are its components? This part of the syllabus can be found in any general textbooks that you are following for ethics. Any general textbooks, notes, coaching materials or any source that you are referring, first part of the question can be found there. So let's see what is the definition that we have for today. Okay, so here we have given you 2 different definitions for emotional intelligence. The first definition here is the most common definition that you will find on the internet. So if you want to score high on your exam, so you could come out with your own definition or just find out some definitions which are not so common but which are very much relatable. So here we have given you 2 definitions. You can choose the one which appeases you the most, which you like the most, which you think will impress the examiner in the exam. So let's read out both of them. The first one says, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions and those of the people around. People with a high degree of emotional intelligence know what they are feeling, what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect other people. So this is the very basic definition of EI. It says that emotional intelligence is not something, is not a rocket science. It just means that you understand what you are feeling, why you are feeling, and you understand what the other person is feeling. You understand your emotions and you understand the other person's emotions. For example, if you're having a bad day or a lazy day, you don't want to go to work, but you do not know what's the reason that you don't want to go for work. It could be tiredness, it could be that you had a very bad day at work. So understanding those feelings, the first step to addressing any problem is understanding it. So if you understand why you are feeling in a certain way, only then you will be able to regulate your actions and choose what is the best thing for you. Only when you understand yourself. So understanding yourself is the first step of emotional intelligence. Based on your understanding, you act accordingly. You understand your emotions and you also understand what the other people must be feeling, or they could be having a bad day, that's why they're acting in a frustrated or angry manner. Understanding their emotions. So emotional intelligence is the key for any administrator. It is the most important thing for any administrator. Your knowledge part does get tested in UPSC, but your job is mostly surrounded about emotional intelligence, and it comes with time, it comes with practice. In fact, UPSC has already asked a question about that: can emotional intelligence be learned? Is it possible to learn it? So let's see what is the second definition here. Emotional intelligence is the quality that enables us to confront with patience, insight, and imagination the many problems that we face in our affective relationships with ourselves and with other people. So, if you see closely, both of the definitions mean the same thing. The second one is a little less common, the first one is very common. But both of the definitions convey the same meaning, that you understand yourself and you understand the other person, and hence you are able to control your choices, you are able to regulate your surroundings, your actions, and the effect people performing actions have on you, the effect which other people have on you. Okay, so this was about the definition. The first part of the question demands us to address the definition of emotional intelligence and talk about its components. So use only one definition, just keep in mind the word limit. The second part is about components of emotional intelligence. Here we are talking about the most popular components. They are given by Daniel Goleman. These are the most widely and accepted. It is the most used model of emotional intelligence. So you can quote him directly in your exam. If you think, see, ethics is your playground. You can write whatever you feel is right for the examiner to know. You can write whatever you like. You can write whatever extra you have learned. So if you have gone through any podcast, any good new books, anything apart from the regular ethics syllabus that other aspirants are reading, mention that in your answers, incorporate that in your answers. It will only get you more marks. Daniel Goleman is the most popular, Daniel Goleman's theory is the most widely accepted theory of emotional intelligence, but it's not a hard and fast rule in case of ethics, like in history or polity, that you have to write similar answer as the other people are writing. So for now, let's discuss what are the components of EI as given by Daniel Goleman. The first one is self-awareness. The second is self-management. These two components talk about the individual emotional intelligence on the individual level. So they concern the individual. The other two are social awareness and social skills. These are the social components of emotional intelligence. So you can also portray this, you can also put this in a form of diagram where you have, I have some space here, where you have EI in the middle and you draw four of the arrows and say that okay, these four are the components of emotional intelligence according to you. Or you can segregate them into individual and social components and prepare your diagram accordingly. So let's learn about that, how much lines you should be writing in your exam. These are full definitions of these components. You don't have to write the full definitions. You can just write a part of the sentence because it is a very short answer question. So let's see what we'll write in self-awareness. So talking about self-awareness, self-awareness is the part of emotional intelligence that tells you that why you are feeling a certain way. If you are feeling very positive about a certain situation, for example, you're feeling very happy or very loved or loving towards somebody, or on the other hand, you're feeling jealous or hatred due to some situation or some person. So it is not necessarily true that the other person has done something, that's why you're feeling it. It's very important to understand that what part of your personality gets irritated in certain kinds of situation, and why do you feel angry or jealous or hate in certain kinds of situations. So this comes with the ability of self-awareness. So this is the first component of emotional intelligence, the individual component of emotional intelligence, that is self-awareness. So when UPSC puts a question like that how can you develop these components, how can you develop self-awareness in you. So going back to the introductory video, I think hobbies like journaling, when you write whatever you're feeling down on a daily basis or maybe on a weekly basis, that why are you feeling a certain way about a particular situation, and mostly bad situations, that why are you feeling jealous or angry. So what makes you what fuels the anger in you. So when you start writing all those things down, you understand that how your brain is playing, how your feelings are acting in a certain way towards a certain situation. So you understand yourself better. So self-awareness is the first component of emotional intelligence. If you know why you're feeling a certain way, only then you can regulate your choices. You will then you will not act out of anger or any negative emotion, or you will not be very giving when you're feeling very positive. You'll have a control over your choices and your actions. So self-awareness is the first component to it. And talking about it, just give a half sentence definition of self-awareness. I'll read it out for you. It is the ability to recognize a feeling as it happens. Self-awareness is clarity about our own feelings and thoughts. With awareness comes the ability to make better choices. So it brings clarity, as it has been talked about here. And clarity is power. When you have that power, only then you can make better choices in life. So this was about self-awareness, the first component of EI. Let's talk about self-management now. Self-management is what you're already doing right now. I think all the UPSC and state civil services aspirants have a lot of self-management already in them. That's why they're able to prepare. So self-management talks about delayed gratification. It talks about regulating your emotions, channelizing your energy in a way that it gives you better results at a certain point of time later in future. So for example, if there is a party, if it's a family function and you decide not to go because you have prelims just 90 days away, or you choose to sit back and write your mains answer for this initiative rather than going to the office party. So that is self-management. You obviously want to enjoy in life, you obviously want to have fun, you want to enjoy all the festivals or all the function, and you want to do all kinds of things which other people are doing. But you have managed, you have controlled your emotions and your actions in such a way that they produce the best, the highest possible benefit for you. So that is what self-management talks about. It also talks about managing yourself, handling yourself in times of distress. So when aspirants face failures, and failures after even interviews, and prelims is just 30 days away or even less. So managing, holding oneself together, bringing your personality together, yourself together, and working hard for the next examination cycle. So that is what self-management is about. So this part of the syllabus, it's very beautiful. It teaches you and it also tests you that what all have you learned, what all is the grill that you've gone through during your preparation. So the second one is self-management. I'll read it out for you. Handling our own emotions so that they don't interfere but facilitate. Having the ability to delay gratification in pursuit of a goal. Recovering well from emotional distress. Translating our deepest, truest preferences into action. in order to improve and succeed. So that's what self-management is about. Here we have done two individual components of emotional intelligence. The next component is about social awareness. So the definition of EI talks about understanding your own emotions and the emotions of others. That interaction of emotions between the self and the other society, community, workplace, whatever it is. So managing that relationship. So the next component here is about social awareness. Let's understand what is that. Social awareness talks about sensing what others are feeling, being able to understand situations from others' perspective, cultivating relationships with a diverse range of people. So I think the first thing here is empathy, and the next step to empathy is compassion. Being able to understand what others are feeling and developing your action set out of it, acting in a compassionate way. We'll talk about compassion later, but social awareness concerns about empathy, that how well you are able to understand what others are feeling and why they are acting positively or negatively or in a certain way. The next social component is social skills. So here, by this time, we have developed self-awareness, self-management, social awareness. When all that awareness and management of the actions of self is there, then the fourth part is social skills, that how well you behave, what is your way of conduct, how do you behave with the people in your office or with the people in your personal life also. So are you able to empathize and act in a compassionate way so that it acts for the benefit of the organization or even your personal environment at home. So what kind of social skills you have, how you are acting in a way, handling emotions in respect to relationships with other people, able to read the intricacies of social interactions, able to interact in social situations well, able to use this skill set to influence, persuade, negotiate and lead. So this social skills, this component, when we talk about leaders and we listen to their stories, even about bureaucrats like top IAS officers and how swiftly they handle mob violence, protest, so many things, and they're able to persuade the people. In fact, many politicians also, they're very skillful socially. So social skills talks about, it is the key point that comes in leadership. You need to have all these points, and the social skills is the final, it's the most important point that's required by any aspirant to become a successful civil servant. So go through this. You don't have to write the full sentences of this part because the word limit is just 150. Whatever you understand from these definitions, just use half sentences for every point, and don't forget to use this kind of diagrammatic illustration. It gives you more marks in the exam. So going back to the question, we have addressed the first part of this question here. What is emotional intelligence and what are its components? What are the applications of emotional intelligence in administration? So while learning about components also, we were discussing that how a certain kind of skills gets you a better workplace, gets you better environment at workplace, gets you more friends, gets your personal life easier, makes it more loving. Now we'll talk about what are the applications of EI in administration, and this is exactly what the syllabus talks about, EI in administration. So let's see what we have here. First of all, as always, we'll start by a linkage point. When you end about talking about the components, we'll turn the direction of our answer and we'll turn it towards talking about how EI is important in administration. So let me read it out. A civil servant as an administrator has the responsibility to act as the vanguard of society. So this is a very beautiful statement here. You act for the society, you act for the benefit of people, you act as their vanguard when you become a civil servant. In this context, utilization of emotional intelligence skills can assist him or her in the attainment of this goal and enhance the quality of decision making, deal with complex situations effectively. So this is our conversation that we have developed with the examiner, that now we are going to talk about in detail how EI is important in administration. This was our linkage point. Moving further towards the body paragraph, since this is a 150 words question, we just have 4 applications here, 4 applications of EI in administration. If you are using just one-liner points, make sure that you add points from your side also, so that you reach the word limit, you don't breach it. So as an administrator, you'll be working for an organization and you'll be working for the welfare of the people in general. So when you understand, when you are an emotionally intelligent administrator, you will understand your own strengths and weaknesses. If you know that there is a certain part, like for accounts, if you're handling accounts, you're weak in that area, so you will know, you will not tend not to make mistakes in that part of area. And if there is some area that is your strength, being able to understand people, being able to build new social connections, being able to influence people, so these will benefit the organization at large. They will help you in your conduct in office and your workplace. That's how you'll be able to successfully achieve the goals of the organization. So EI enables a leader to be conscious of personal limitations and use personal strengths to further the work of achieving organizational goals. These weaknesses could be anything. They could be in part they could be concerned with knowledge of an administrator, or the personal conduct of an administrator, or any kind of abilities or disabilities that the administrator has. Being aware of them in the first place before starting the job is very much important to serve the organizational goals successfully and in a well-framed time period. And with EI, the second point talks about the mental clarity, which helps in taking the right decisions at the right time. It allows mental clarity that leadership demands for taking right decisions and deal with conflicting situations rationally. So when you understand your emotions, when you are emotionally intelligent, you see there would be many situations in public life when you become an officer that they will hit your conscience, they will affect you emotionally very hard. Acting rationally in those times, for example, if a protest is going on and you know that the people are protesting for the right thing, but the mob is getting violent, so what will you do there? Will you order a lathi charge? You can not do that, because the people are right on their part. You will definitely try to ensure rule of law and order. You will try to maintain that, and to try to maintain that, even if the cause what they're protesting for, that's also your cause, that could affect you also, you could agree with them, but you can definitely not let the protest turn into a violent one. Okay, so you have to act according to what your rational, what your conscience permits. To be acting efficiently, you need to be emotionally intelligent. So it gives you mental clarity and aids you in taking the right choices and making the right decisions. The next point talks about your workplace. See, your workplace takes almost 1/3 of your day, almost 1/3 of the day. In fact, more than that, people spend in their offices. So having a good culture, having good relations with the people you are working, that's very important part of your life. It affects people's mental and emotional health. And organizational goals, the benefit of people, they are directly affected by the workplace culture that these public offices have in general. So as an administrator, you will be at a very high position at your workplace. So if you are an emotionally intelligent administrator, if you have incorporated the components of emotional intelligence in your personality, then you will be able to develop healthy working relationships by better understanding the strengths and weaknesses of co-workers or your juniors, and maintaining a healthy rapport with people. An empathetic individual can read emotional currents. So you must have seen these in this type, and you must have had, all of you must have had at least one teacher or one relative or a parent or a mentor in your life who could judge what is going on in your mind or heart, whatever the problems that you are having, just by standing in front of you, just by listening to one sentence of yours. So these mentors, teachers, or any such kind of people you have in your life. They could be parents, siblings, anyone. These are actually very emotionally intelligent individuals. They understand what the other person is feeling. So as an administrator, if you develop these qualities, you will be better able to understand how your co-workers are feeling, how the people who are approaching you for help, how they are feeling, what is right, what is wrong, and you'll be able to develop better relationships, better work culture, and you'll be able to serve the society more efficiently as compared to someone who's low on emotional intelligence. So that's about it. The fourth point talks about it helps an administrator to persuade, convince, or impact others in order to get them to support a specific agenda or course of action. So if there is a protest going on, if you know which words to use at the right time, how to persuade people, you'll be able to turn it into a peaceful protest, or you could persuade people to go back to their houses, and you could assure them that yes, their voice would be heard, or you could bring them together to support water conservation in your area or district, wherever you will be posted, and things like that. So emotional intelligence is for your benefit. I recommend that you learn about this topic more from Google and YouTube and podcasts that you like to follow than you learn from your regular ethics books, because this will help you a great deal, not only in getting good marks in your ethics paper, but it will also help you handling the stress before examination. There's so many personal issues that arise before any examination. It could happen before your interview, before your mains, or even after that, even in your job. So developing these skills from here onwards, they'll help you get good marks in mains, in interview, and make you a very efficient and a very well loved civil servant. So moving on to the conclusion. So we talked about EI in administration. Why is it important? We just gave you 4 points. We recommend that you add something from your side as well. Coming to the conclusion here, we talk about that our technical intelligence is already very great. Our IQ levels can be tweaked, enhanced, and our knowledge can be changed. Our technical intelligence is doing well. But for the sustenance of human race, if we want to lead a happy life, if we want to lead a satisfied life, and we want to live cordially and peacefully, then we need to focus more on the emotional intelligence part. So that's how you conclude. Let me read it out for you. Our technical intelligence is great, but a wiser, saner future for the human race depends on the capacity to master its own emotions. In present times, especially in a market-driven economy, governance will become increasingly complex. Ensuring the rights of citizens and respect for all individuals in a democracy, while simultaneously maintaining law and order, becomes a challenge. Hence, use of emotional intelligence is a must for better public service delivery as well as redressal. So, the first part of the conclusion, we generally praised why emotional intelligence is important. And in the second part, we just concluded the second part of the question, that why is it important for governance in contemporary times, why and how it helps in better public service delivery. So why is it important? So there are 2 parts to this conclusion. You can choose to club both the paragraphs, or you could choose to just entirely skip one of the parts if you think that you've already crossed the word limit. So choose what suits you. Also, for enhancing your emotional intelligence or learning from examples, you should regularly follow TED Talks of IS officers who are already working. Like there are many popular TED Talks by recent IS officers and older IS officers also. So just follow them, take their examples, they share their stories, how they rescued people, or how they developed a certain kind of school in their village or in the district that they were posted to. So listen to such TED Talks. If there are some podcasts are freely available on YouTube. Podcasts like the Jay Shetty podcast, the Ranveer Show, and things like that. They're freely available on YouTube. Just add them to your hobbies, listening to such things, watching such videos. Chilling is very important during preparation. You don't have to chill like other people chill, like watching the latest series on Netflix or watching the going to the theater to watch the latest movie that has been released. But you need to have relaxing time for yourself. That's very important, and relax in your own way that benefits your preparation. So listen to TED Talks, go through podcasts. I'll be linking one of the videos in the description to this lecture. You can watch that particular video on emotional intelligence and similar video, and make sure that you do that, especially for your ethics paper. Don't go through the regular coaching notes or the regular books that everybody is reading. Enhance your answers, because that is what this particular paper is about. UPSC has added this paper in its curriculum just to give you that playground to write whatever you want, to share your own experiences. So develop a lot of examples, gain a lot of knowledge, develop your own personality before you sit for the final interview and before you actually join services. So all the best. Write the answer to this question and mail your answers to us at rmiasmainswriting@gmail.com by 12 p.m. of February 18. So I've been receiving a lot of messages that, ma'am, we've not got reviews for our answers. So we take around 3 to 5 days to review answers, because we give very valuable review. We read the answer properly and then we review back, so that takes time, and plus there are a lot of entries. So we have all your entries in place and we will be reviewing them. By the meantime, just stay tuned, keep sending your answers, keep sharing them, and keep growing with Raj Malhotra's IAS Academy. All the best. Download the PDF file for this presentation from the description below, and stay tuned.